Welcome to the Killjoy After Party.
Think the fun is over once you quit drinking?
Think again.
We have a booze-free beverage shop in Nashville, and we hear stories from our customers all the time about how much better life is after booze.
And we're excited to share these stories with you.
And since this is Nashville, you bet your ass
We're making it musical.
Yeah, it tastes like sunshine, like a real good time, lifting my mood and it brightens my day. Gonna rise and go, no alcohol, get my sparkle roll. Gonna rise and go, no alcohol.
get through the samples that people send us.
Yeah, I have a fridge full of samples. Yeah.
All right, so we are super excited to be here today talking with Ian Blessing from All the Bitter. Ian and his wife, Carly, founded All the Bitter. When did you guys start?
2022, January. But 2021, we were in our kitchen shaking mason jars full of herbs and bitters, developing recipes in our kitchen.
Well, Ian and Carly were both sommeliers at the French Laundry, if I understand that correctly, and then made a huge pivot to creating non-alcoholic bitters. Can you give us a little bit of that story kind of in a nutshell?
I absolutely did not think that I would be here making non-alcoholic cocktail bitters. But my wife and I met at the French Laundry and we had kids and we quit drinking and got really into non-alc beverages as consumers. And there were hundreds of spirits on the market, but very, very few options for fully alcohol-free cocktail bitters. And realized it was something that the market needed, but something that we could do or thought I could do. And I Googled how to make alcohol-free bitters. I tell the story. I think people think I'm joking. I'm not. I clicked on the first link. If you Google right now how to make alcohol-free cocktail bitters, the first link should still be Mountain Rose Herbs, their blog on how to make a glycerite. And I followed those instructions.
Oh, so we can just do it ourselves now. That's what I'm hearing.
You don't need us. You're good.
I have a lot of free time, so that's going to work out great.
It's easy.
Did you and Carly quit drinking at the same time?
We checked into rehab at the same time.
Oh, that's so romantic.
It is. Yeah. We checked into separate rehabs, his and hers.
Okay.
We had a 5-month-old at the time. And so our moms both took Jack for a month and we got help and then came back and were better parents.
Good for you all. And for really, turning it into something amazing. So now, in addition to being the #1 non-alcoholic bitters brand in the world, you have a bottle shop there in Chico. And maybe, are you also expanding it into a bar?
Yeah, that's the next move. So we kind of soft opened in January. So our bottle shop is open. We're doing business. And then the goal is by the end of May to transition this into what we're calling a zero-proof market and lounge. You know, we have one seating area essentially that kind of feels like a lounge. And then we have some tables outside. So it's not exactly a bar. You know, we're calling it a tasting room right now. And we pour tastes of our bitters and soda. We do tastings of cocktails. We do, wine tastings, but it's going to be more than that. We're going to have a menu, with 15, 16 non-alcoholic cocktails on it, plus beer and wine by the glass and small bites. So we wanted it to reflect the idea that it's more than just a tasting room, but it's also not exactly a bar, but it's a place to come, get a great drink that just doesn't have any alcohol in it.
I wish that I lived closer to Chico because...
I feel like you've kind of been an early adapter to this whole movement and you're still evolving. What do you think's fueling the growth of the non-alc movement these days?
I think it's the same thing that has kind of been fueling it from the beginning, which is once it existed, you can't unsee it, right? So Ben Branson created Seedlip and that was it. Here we are. It's obviously come a long way since then. The market has evolved dramatically since those first products. We actually got bottles of Seedlip when we were at the French Laundry. We got samples. Nobody understood how to use it. Nobody cared. We did not take a minute to figure out how to use it, how to make great drinks with it. But, it's once it's there and once people realize that non-alcoholic cocktails, beer, wine, whatever, these alternatives are an option, now they have to exist. It's veggie burgers and gluten-free buns and all of these different, milk alternatives all kind of paved the way for people to, I think rightfully so, expect to be included. People expect options that cater to them. It's really rare. They did all that hard work for us, I think, in terms of adoption, right? It's surprising now to go to a restaurant and have them not have a veggie option or a gluten-free option. And that wasn't the case 15 years ago, but it is now. And so, once we realized that these drinks existed and that they were an option, now you can't not serve them.
Once it's in the culture, it never really goes away, kind of,
Yeah.
even if there fluctuates up and down or it's a trend or whatever. But once it's introduced, just like the whole Zoom, this whole situation that we're in, this came out of the pandemic, you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of the health conscious things that are going on now stemmed from the pandemic. Everybody just kind of had a wake up call there.
Yeah. Yeah. We weren't doing this 5 years ago, and now we can't get away from it.
Right.
For better or worse.
I mean, that's true for me. The pandemic was the catalyst for me to quit drinking. I quit at the end of 2020 after, really, really drinking a lot.
Yeah, we got lucky. We kind of, not got lucky. We chose to quit drinking when we did for a very specific reason. We had a 5-month-old and we couldn't keep drinking the way we were. But I'm so grateful that we quit drinking when we did, because it was right before the pandemic started. I might not be here if I was still drinking when the pandemic kicked in. That's a weird thing to say, but that's probably true.
So it's kind of interesting to me that you guys both just made this decision and did it. It seems like, you've really integrated it into your life, and like we have, this, when your work is tied up in it, our whole world is people who don't drink and who are very interested in non-alcoholic products.
Yeah.
But for somebody listening to this who's considering, maybe I should quit drinking, maybe I need to make this change, what's a piece of advice that you would give?
Our entire lives were based around beverage. It was just alcoholic beverage at the time, but that's what we did. Our playtime, our study time, our work time, everything was based around wine and drinking. That's what we did for work. That's what we did for fun. It was our whole lives. What takes up most of our time becomes our lives. And moving into this industry allowed us to continue that, but without alcohol. Our lives are basically the same as they were before. We just don't drink alcohol anymore.
Just took that ingredient out.
Yeah, we took one ingredient out, but the drinks are the same, the preparation's the same, the ritual's the same. The community that we've surrounded ourselves with is, again, different, but the same. All of our friends are in the non-drinking business now. I remember this randomly. When I was in rehab, one of the exercises that we did was we had to write an obituary, two versions of an obituary. One if we had quit drinking, and one if we didn't quit drinking. And the one in which I didn't quit, I got into a car crash after too many wine tastings. That one was pretty easy to come up with. And the other one, I had opened a non-alcoholic bar, and my kids took over the company, and they were managing the culinary garden. And this was 5.5 years ago. Again, Seedlip was out, but I wasn't really thinking, again, I wasn't using it. I wasn't really thinking about Seedlip. There was definitely not a non-alcoholic bar. There were no bottle shops existed. There were 3 products on the market. Nothing existed. But I somehow wrote this whole obituary where I created a non-alcoholic bar. And then it dawned on me a couple days ago that I'm sitting in it. I created it.
Wow. Maybe you created this whole movement.
I don't think so. I don't
with
think
your
so.
mind.
Obviously, it's the work of a lot of people, and it was an idea that somebody had, and it got started, and it built on itself. But to realize that, I think that the concept of a bar, at least, wasn't really existent. And here we are. And we make a product that's integral to the NA space. And we're opening a bar, and I have a garden in the backyard, and the kids water the plants. And, Jack is our 6-year-old now. He's the little guy that was 5 months old when we quit drinking. He's our chief marketing and dinosaur relations officer. The dinos were his idea. The entire thing has come absolutely full circle, and it's wild.
Well, then we definitely love the dinos that we get every time we order something. And I feel like a lot of the things that you've done have just kind of evolved naturally, and that kind of being one of them. You just go, okay, this is what we're doing. Now let's just kind of make it our things. And then we try to do the same thing, have it be authentic. So that resonates with me, man. I love that.
Well, yeah. And watching what you guys do, it's very obvious, it's there, as wonderful as the space is, there's a lot of it is created by marketing firms and, bankers and
right.
business people. What do you do? I don't know. I do business. I do money. Like that's not us. That's obviously maybe you guys are more savvy than I am. I don't know, but like that's not us. I like drinks. I like making people drinks. That's about as deep as it gets.
We could use one of those money guys, though.
Yeah. No, we've had a few conversations with the money guys, and it never goes well. Yeah, I mean, everything we do is just it's organic.
And you guys made a big, bold move recently to decide to pull your products from Amazon. How do you think that's going to impact you guys moving forward? And as a small bottle shop, thank you. I love it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. But I can tell you that we would not have been able to do that if we had money guys. And I had called them up and I was like, hey, we're thinking of going off Amazon. It was 30% of our sales last year. And they would have been like, F you, we own your company. You don't get to do that. So that's why we don't have investors. Because I want to wake up in the morning and go, this is what we do today. And then I have a conversation with Carly and we go, yeah, that sounds good. In this case, it was a little more thought out, but we sat down and we made a pros and cons list. And we were like, these are the pros of staying on Amazon. And it's ease of purchase and finding new customers. And it's a great way for people to buy. Amazon's a great way for people to buy stuff. You get product there quickly. We had an entire restaurant group order bitters from Amazon that I had never had a conversation with. I started noticing the same order come in, one aromatic and one orange bitter, starting in mid-December from a business account. You can tell when it's business, but you can't tell. What Amazon doesn't tell you is who it is, where they are, no information about them. So I saw that we were getting business purchases 6-7 times a day for a few weeks. And then got a news alert with our name in it that said that a restaurant group had picked up our bitters and they were using them in cocktails for dry January. I had never had a single conversation with them. They found us on Amazon and bought bitters for 30 restaurants on Amazon. That's tough. The idea of leaving that was really challenging. But when we made the list of reasons why we would be leaving Amazon, it was impossible to ignore. The list was 3 times as long. And the big ones, the ones that we ultimately kind of circled, and it was like, all these other ones don't really matter. It was the bottle shops. It was our retailers that we have been working with for the last 3 years that have really been our marketing and our sales teams, right? Like we have a couple people that work here, but they're back there making bitters and shipping product around the country. Like I'm the marketing and sales team. I don't know what I'm doing. And I juggle 100 different things. Like I do very little, sales outreach. I'm a social media manager. You know what I mean? Like most of our marketing is social media posts. So you guys are our marketing. You guys are our sales teams. And nobody on Amazon is telling people how to use the product, how to enjoy it best, how to make a great cocktail. That's what you guys are doing. And so the idea that somebody's going to buy something on Amazon and take away a sale from you is really, really hard to deal with, not only on a kind of micro transaction level, but the impact that Amazon has had on small businesses in general, putting small mom and pop retailers out of business across the country. That was the part where I'm like, I can't get past that. Like once you accept that is the reality, I don't want to support that anymore.
Yeah. Amazing. Incredible. I mean, it's so cool to see someone grow their own business, follow their dreams, stand in their integrity, include their family, all the stuff that you're doing, man. It's huge. It's awesome.
It feels right. It's the only, we're not going to run a business if it doesn't feel right. That was the whole point of doing this. And again, do I know if it's the actual right thing to do in terms of business? I have no idea. I can't stress enough. I don't know what I'm doing. We don't know what we're doing.
Something I know you do know a lot about, which is wine, because as a bottle shop, we do sell a lot of wine. We carry 60 different types of wines. People are always coming in and going, none of these wines are good. What do you say to people about non-alcoholic wines?
I mean, the first thing is that it's a reframe, I think, in your mind of what it is. Yeah. And I struggled with the wines. I had a really hard time with them. The beers are really good. The spirits are good because you can make a cocktail. You can layer in different flavors and components and textures. Wine is just an adjustment. It's not the same as full strength wine. My biggest suggestions are to, first of all, start with sparkling wine. Sparkling works much better than reds do. It's bubbly. That texture really helps. It's served chilled. White wines, for the same reason, are also really, really strong. They don't have the bubble component, but they're being served chilled. They're meant to be refreshing. You're not looking for a big, bold experience. You're looking for something refreshing. The biggest thing is pouring tastes for people, because there are a lot of really good wines out there. And what people are referencing are the couple really terrible NA wines. And yeah, there are some really, really bad NA wines out there. Awful wines.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of really, really good ones. I was hesitant to pour Riesling originally. So we usually have 4 or 5 wines that we have opened. I was hesitant to serve Riesling because people have kind of a bad association with Riesling, thinking that it's sweet. And yes, some Rieslings are sweet, but this is an association that people have with the regular wine too. There are overly sweet Rieslings. Most of them are not. Most of them are either dry or they're just off dry. They have just enough sugar to balance the super high acidity that's inherent in Riesling. And the one that we carry is Leitz. They're a really phenomenal German producer that's been making wine for hundreds of years. They've been making Riesling for hundreds of years. So they're really good at making the de-alked version. It drinks shockingly well. It comes really close to the flavor and aroma of Riesling, which is really impressive. The only other wines I think that come anywhere near as close to really replicating the actual alcoholic version is Sauvignon Blanc. Those 2 grapes, Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc, both de-alk really, really well. They're very expressive, very aromatic wines. And so they're really easy to identify in the regular alcoholic world as well. So if you're blind tasting, Sauvignon Blanc and Riesling are the 2 easiest wines to identify. One smell and you know what it is. You know where it was grown. You know everything about it. And the same is impressively true of the non-alc versions. Because Riesling has such a high acidity, it's really pleasing texturally. It's one of the few wines that really has a zing to it. It really is very wine-like when you taste it. And so even if Riesling wasn't your jam or you think you're not going to like it, I highly encourage people to try a non-alc Riesling, because I think you'll enjoy it. We started pouring this a couple weeks ago, and we sell a bottle almost every time we pour a taste. The other thing, and I would be remiss if I didn't plug our product, is with red wines, which are the hardest, the most challenging to get right, because they're missing that body. They're missing the depth. Yeah. They're missing the punch of red wine. It doesn't get you all the way there, but adding our bitters to red wine really, really helps. We have 3 flavors that work really well in different ways. Our aromatic bitter, which is very spicy. It's cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, ginger, allspice. That works really well in wines that typically have spice flavors like Zinfandel or Syrah. Any wine that you want to really give kind of a spicy punch to, that works super well. Our New Orleans bitters are tart cherry, anise, hibiscus, and rose hips, which are very red wine-like characters in themselves. So adding that works really well to wines that just kind of need more flavor. They're lacking flavor. Adding a couple dashes of our New Orleans bitters works really well to elevate that. And then our new coffee bitters work shockingly well in things like Merlot and Cabernet. So anything that, again, would have kind of a rich, roasted, chocolatey character to them, our coffee bitters work really, really well at taming some like overt fruit characteristics in red wines, but also adding that kind of roasty, chocolatey, rich depth to it. So they add a lot of flavor, but they also add a little bit of bite and body and balance to the drink too.
I love hearing you talk about this. I wish you could come to our shop and come and do a tasting.
I will. I need to get out there again once we get this sorted out, because I forgot how much work it was opening a bar. There's a lot to do, and we're still about a month away. And
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you're doing any of that in addition to being a parent and a husband and a human. We're going to come to you soon too.
Yeah.
Maybe once that gets open. That sounds like like a good plan.
Yeah.
We would love it. Yeah, please do.
Do you have like a dream collab scenario, like with a chef or a artist, dead or alive, mixologist that you would like to work with?
Yeah, man. Now that you mention it, I'd like to make Anthony Bourdain a Negroni.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now I'm getting emotional. He'd probably hate it. He'd probably curse me out, but I want to make it for him.
Yeah.
What ingredients would you include in Anthony Bourdain's Negroni?
I would do a straight up Negroni, but I would tweak the ingredients a little bit. So I'd use Pathfinder instead of vermouth. I would use Jaffard's aperitif syrup as the Campari. And then for the gin, I'd probably do Monday. I'd go pretty straight up with it. There's so many different ways that you can make a Negroni. We're going to put one on the menu for the lounge that we're calling the Bright Negroni. And it's Optimus Bright, Gia, and Pathfinder, and our New Orleans bitters. It's a very like bright, juicy, kind of springtimey flavor profile. It's really, really delicious. I'd want to serve him about as close to traditional as you can get while still having it, really, really satisfying.
You kind of had an epiphany when you were in rehab. You did your obituary, and it kind of came true. So in 5 years, where do you kind of hope to see the NA scene?
It's going to be where it's at now. It's just going to grow. I don't really see it, honestly, changing that much. I think that we are going to continue to see small, independent bottle shops and bars and lounges. And I think that's part of it. I think we're going to see more like hybrid, kind of lounge, coffee shop, retail options popping up. I think there's a really strong argument to be made for places where you can go get a drink, have them serve you a drink, and then also buy the stuff there to take home. The small independent shops are where the education is done. It's where the excitement happens. It's where innovation happens. It's where it's a playground for small brands to be seen. When Boisson had their issues, there was a lot of talk about non-alc bottle shops not being sustainable, not making sense, not being relevant, which is wild because it's one business that closed. Like,
right.
I don't know what the stats about small businesses closing, but like most small businesses close. Then there's a million reasons why they do. The idea that niche shopping is not relevant is crazy.
Yeah.
Is totally nuts. How many wine shops are there in the country? How many specialty grocers are there in the country? How many bookstores are there? How many game stores are there? Those are all niche shops. You can buy all those things at the grocery store. You can buy all those things at Target. But the guy at Target doesn't know wine. He can't make recommendations for you. The guy at Target doesn't know anything about playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like, you got to go to your local game shop to talk to the nerd there about it. And then he's going to be like stoked to talk about D&D with you,
right.
Like, this is always going to be relevant. There's always going to be a place for people to go to hyper fixate and to learn a lot about something specific that they are interested in. When you're buying a bottle on Amazon or you go into a Bevmo and you just grab a bottle from the shelf, why would somebody not know that you can't just drink that whiskey on its own? Because that's how that person likes to drink whiskey. The whiskey smells and tastes like whiskey, but it has the texture of strongly brewed tea. And the number of times that I've seen people either say online or now to me in person that they spent $35, $45 on a bottle of a non-alcoholic spirit and then had to pour it down the drain because it was so bad, it kills me. And so if that's all we're doing, if we're only selling stuff to people online with no context, this industry's dead.
Yeah.
You can't have people spending $45 on a bottle of something that they don't like and don't know how to use. And so this woman came in, I talked to her about how to use the tequila. I gave her the recipes for our margarita, for a Paloma. She came back a week later and was like, I killed the bottle. It was amazing. Thank you so much. So I'm sorry, but this industry dies if we are not here in small shops pouring tastes for people and explaining how to use it. And if we don't invest and we don't, as brands, invest in you guys so that you can do that, we're all screwed.
What's so important to me and from the beginning is like, when I quit drinking, I didn't know anyone else that didn't drink at all. And now we have events and there's a whole community. People come to the shop and they know each other.
Yeah.
And they go to our bar night and they know each other. So in addition to just being the beverages, like there's also validation. You can see I'm not alone in this. There's other non-alcoholic drink nerds. There's other people who are just on this journey of like healing and self-discovery or whatever, wherever you are. There's someone out there who's experiencing something similar, and we're helping to bring those people together in a way that's inclusive, not judgmental, doesn't have any like dogma or whatever around it. So
I'm waiting for the first Killjoy baby. People who meet at the events and then they end up having a baby and we get to name it.
So good. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Right?
It's going to happen. You're building community. And you're right. I mean, it's the same thing as you find in other communities where you go to wine tasting events and you talk to people because you're all into wine.
Yeah.
and then you have a baby, but maybe it was an accident. Here it's super intentional. It wasn't an accident. You were sober. You did that all on your own.
Listen, just because you're sober doesn't mean you can't still make a book in mistake.
That's
We know that.
That's true.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. All right. This is the rapid fire round.
Yes.
Start you off easy. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Do you have a nickname?
Del Scorcho.
Yes. Wasn't expecting that.
Did I hear Del Scorcho?
Del Scorcho.
Okay.
It's a hot sauce packet flavor.
Okay. What's your go-to morning beverage?
Psychedelic water.
What's your favorite genre of music?
Ska punk, punk ska.
Ah.
Yes.
Do you play any instruments?
90s, 2000s ska
Gosh, wow.
punk. No. I played the flute when I was a kid, but no,
Okay.
not anymore.
What's your most underrated NA ingredient when you're making like a zero proof cocktail?
Vinegar.
Yeah, that's a good
Apple
one.
cider, white distilled?
Yeah.
Apple cider? Yeah.
Apple cider.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book or a book you recommend?
Stephen King, The Stand.
Okay.
Yes, you're the first one that's done a Stephen King book, man. I love it. Or fiction, I think.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
I have two answers. It used to be Zombie when I was drinking. I can't do that anymore. Now apparently it's Glycerin by Bush. Thank you, Derek Brown.
Well, today we're going to write your song. I know maybe if we have it on Spotify, maybe it'll be on karaoke. Next year, everyone can perform their own songs.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. We'll do Killjoy karaoke. That's going to be so good.
Ooh,
Yeah, Killjoy karaoke.
It's got a ring to it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all I got.
Nailed it.
Okay.
All right. A little fast forward. We wrote the song. Now let's perform it. 1, 2, 3.
I like to have at least 5 drinks at once. Yeah. I like a little punch, like to spice it up. I'm the big bad string cheese daddy. I love to make Bourdain on the Grody. Come to Chico with your homies, and you can find me. All the bitter makes it better. Grab your friend and come together. Don't be dry, let's get it just a little bit wetter. All the bitter makes it better. Make it better now, make it better, make it better now. Dinosaurs are in the budget, and business is cooking like an oven. We told Amazon to shove it. Yeah, we keep it niche, we keep it independent. That's just how we love it. All the bitter makes it better. Grab your friends, let's come together. Don't be dry, let's get it just a little bit wetter. All the bitter makes it better.
Oh, that's excellent.
Thank you for playing.
Yes.
That exceeded expectations. That's so good.
Thanks,
It's
man.
fun. Have you ever written a song before?
No, and I still didn't. So thank you for writing it.
You helped.
Yeah, man. You're the muse.
That's so good. That was awesome.
Yay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for all that you're doing for the non-alc community. And can you share where the people can find you on the internet?
Yes, allthebitter.com. But more importantly, I'd like you to go to allthebitter.com and find our store locator and find a tiny independent bottle shop like Killjoy near you.
And you should definitely follow their Instagram, which is
Instagram.com/allthebitter.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Ian. We really appreciate you and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, guys. This was so fun.
Get my sparkle on.